wait no longer. Greatness has arrived. Welcome to the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast made by the players for the players. I am your host, Joseph. It is here on this very podcast where each and every Thursday I sit down with my best friend Kyle. We talk about the latest, the greatest in all things PlayStation. And of course, you can listen to this podcast wherever you get your podcast services. Please rate us 5 stars. It would help us out greatly. Or toss a buck our way over at patreon.com/badbit. And so with all that said, and with all that out of the way, the greatest co-host, whoever will be, Mr. Kyle Stevenson. How are you, sir?
Fantastic. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk even more PlayStation this week with another fantastic guest. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great show, friends.
Real talk, I'm just really pumped I nailed that intro so hard. So here's the thing. For the past few weeks, we've been having guests on the show. We're going to round it out with a guest that I'm super excited for that I didn't know until I threw out this little signal boost over at Twitter. Fonzie from Plastic Hearts Podcast. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How are you guys doing?
You know what? I like it. I like your energy. It's nice. It's calm. It's zen.
I'm doing pretty good in the corner, so that's how I get.
So, real talk. I want to just boost your ego one last time and just say it's always a goddamn crime when I see people so talented. Like you see the set behind you, you put it in the work, the lighting, the mic sounds, everything. And when I saw it, I was just like, oh my God, we need to signal boost this guy because she's that great. Just like a good friend, Patches Plays. I love her, and I feel like we need to bring up people like you that are positive, that are PlayStation. And so with that, Fonz, please tell us what you do.
Well, I appreciate it. Once again, that's you're definitely tooting my horn, and I won't stop you, but I don't agree, but I appreciate it. My name's Fonzie. I run Plastic Hearts Podcast. Who's not with me today is my co-host, indie game dev extraordinaire Gavin Jones. We're both just lifelong friends, and we break down video game news. He's an indie game dev, so we try to interpret the news through that indie game lens, but we'll also interview other indie game developers and kind of hear their story, and just shoot the shit and just have fun. And we're just huge nerds, so we do this anyways on our own time, so then we decided, let's start doing this together.
Dude, that's what happened to me. I just started talking to all my friends, like my real life friends, and most of them are non-gamers, and they're just like, Joe, just shut up. So that's why I made Bad Bit. That's why I made the Trophy Room. And I love your podcast. I just started listening to it a few weeks back, and again, the production value is there, but also having a indie developer there adds a different light to gaming news, to gaming topics that you don't get in a lot of podcasts because your co-host actually knows how it's made, right? That's the interesting thing about it. So you guys could get into the weeds about things that even some of the bigger podcasts are just guessing on. And that's what I really love about your show. So everybody, check out Plastic Hearts Podcast over on YouTube. We're going to bully Fonz until he puts out an RSS feed so that we can give him 5 stars on iTunes.
Not to mention that they are one of the most supportive people of fellow content creators. Like you guys are always retweeting Best Friends Talk Funny.
I'm a fan and
retweeting us.
Right. And I just have my phone with me anyway. So, I'm taking a dump. I'm just retweeting and I'm liking.
You know what? That's what I expect. And I appreciate that.
Yeah. That's what we've been trying to do as well, is like bring in voices, big, large, small, whatever the size is, and just bring people along the journey with us. That's what it is to us. And so with that, guys, gang, we got a lot of news. We're going to talk about the PlayStation survey that's hinting at remote play to Nintendo Switch. I know that sounds like a decade ago. Talk about the wonderful 101 hitting PlayStation 4. Xbox thinks PlayStation isn't its enemy anymore. Phil, you're so wrong. Expect that dagger in your back. And PlayStation sales the whole wazoo. But before we get into any of that, I like to bring in this segment, warm up the show, to what we've been playing. Kyle, what have you been playing, my man?
Yeah, so I finally dove into the Borderlands 3 DLC, the Moxie's Heist of the Handsome Jackpot. Anyone that had any critiques on the main story of Borderlands 3 and the writing of the villains, I think a lot of that has improved a great deal in this DLC.
Yeah.
I love the characters in here. I mean, you get the added bonus of having Handsome Jack back in some way in this DLC. But the locations is fantastic. You're in this old rundown casino. The humor is still there with some of the side missions. I actually got like a little emotional at one of the side missions. There's one of the loader robots, and all he wants to do is go for a picnic. So you go and collect picnic stuff for him, and then you set everything up, and he just looks at you and goes, I lied to you. I wanted a picnic because it's the last thing I can do before my battery finally dies, because I'm basically dying.
Oh, no.
And then you have the picnic, and then spoilers, he dies in front of you and gives you all the money that was inside of him, because the mission's called Heart of Gold.
Oh,
and
my
like
goodness.
I'm like, oh my god, I was not ready for that.
Awesome.
Like I was expecting him to turn evil, like
Yeah.
most of stuff.
I got a question for you though.
Yeah.
Do you think that Borderlands relies on Handsome Jack way too much?
I do.
Yeah.
I do, and I'm part of the problem because I love Handsome Jack.
Mhm.
So of course I want to see him a great deal. And yeah, I do think the reason why I did like this so much was because of his influence.
Yeah.
And of course there were some brand new characters in there that were kind of cool. But I would love for them to what the twins were in Borderlands 3, I wanted them to raise them up to a Handsome Jack level.
And
They
it never
just
happened.
didn't do that. But
That's
I'm
true.
excited for what the other DLCs will be. If they're this quality, like I'll be playing Borderlands 3 forever. I
All
feel
right.
like.
That sounds actually really good. Now I kind of regret trading it in.
Yeah.
But for me, I've platinumed everybody. Give me a round of applause. I platinumed Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. The only Uncharted that I will ever platinum, because
I mean-
Naughty Dog doesn't know how to make a good trophy list, because they make them
Whoa.
impossible.
Yeah.
They make them
Whoa.
impossible.
Not
But
really.
Lost Legacy, it's on PlayStation Plus right now. I also believe it's on deep sale because of the
It's not on
crazy
PlayStation
sale.
Plus. You mean PlayStation Now?
Yeah, PlayStation Now.
Okay.
My apologies. I'm all caffeinated.
Oh, geez.
On PlayStation Now, it's on a deep sale at the moment, I believe, because of the Critics PSN sale that's going on. That's bonkers. But yeah, Uncharted Lost Legacy, I didn't expect much from it. It's about an 8 to 10 hour experience. And I'm going to say this. This is our first game since Death Stranding that we're doing a Road to Greatness episode on that will premiere Monday of next week. I believe that's the 11th, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm going to save most of my thoughts for that show. But what I'll say right here, right now, I wasn't expecting what I got from this. I wasn't expecting to feel the way I felt about this game. Playing it over twice has showed me that Uncharted Lost Legacy is by far the best Uncharted game I have ever played. And I need more Chloe and Nadine and whatever they throw at them next. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait to gush about why when we get to the Road to Greatness again. That's on Patreon, $3 tier. Support us, helps the show go.
And
we're $10 away, $10 away from making the trophy room a once a month live show. So go for it, gang. Yeah, every month we'll do one show live.
I don't want to spoil the Road to Greatness, but I'm so excited to sit down and talk Lost Legacy with you.
I am really as well.
So excited.
So pumped. Fonz, what have you been playing, my man?
Yeah, and that's good to see you're having so much fun with Lost Legacy, because I had a blast with that too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where would you rank it? I know you're not on the Road to Greatness.
See, I
with
had
us.
a
Where would
kind
you
of
rank
a
that
controversial opinion too, where you're dropping the mic saying like, "Hey, it's the best time I've had with Uncharted." I had a lot of fun. I love that open world aspect, so I'm super excited to see. I imagine they're going to take some of that and put it in Last of Us 2. You know, there's scenes in that trailer that kind of depict that. So I loved Lost Legacy. It was pretty fun, really dope. Love those characters.
Yeah, I love it. I just, again, can't wait to gush about it.
Yep.
Fonz, what have you been playing, my man?
I haven't been playing a PlayStation game recently, actually.
Son of a bitch. Get him off the show.
Yeah,
We love all
I'm
games
gonna see
here.
my weight. Actually, I'm gonna head up. No, it's really for me lately. I jumped into 1980X, which is actually on Switch. It might be on PlayStation 4 as well. It's this newer title. It's mixing this weird like 2D pixelated or pixel art like retro style with all these different like gameplay aspects to it. It's really fun, but I actually have been playing a ton of PlayStation right now, but a lot of editing, a lot of random live stuff. But
no, that I've heard that. I've heard a little bit about it from Victor Lucas's show about it. It's kind of like a what you would think an 80s game would feel like, but kind of like Cyberpunk-esque meets like Miami Vice.
Yep.
type of vibes
If
from
you
it.
check out the trailer, that trailer sells you because it's super just stylized, and it takes you in there, shows you the examples of the different gameplay in there. It's $10 on Switch right now, but yeah, it's really cool.
Go for it. Go get that. And say that the name of the game one more time, because
1980X.
1980X. Go ahead, check it out. Support small developers, please, for the love of God. With that, and no matter what platform. You hear me, Ray? You hear me, Ray? Even if you have to buy it on your phone, who knows? With that, Kyle, it's time for the new and improved segment. It's time to square up the news. You get it? Square up, because it's button. Square. Everybody has a list. Some people call it a report. Some people call it X's and O's. We call it, okay? We call it squaring up the news. Kyle,
Yeah.
What's the first news story on the docket?
This one comes from Austin Goslin over at Polygon. PlayStation survey hints that PS4 remote play could soon come to Switch. PlayStation games could soon be playable on all kinds of different platforms, if a recent survey is to be believed. The survey comes by way of Reddit user You Read It Here First, who explains that they received the survey as an email from Sony. Here are the following, I'm guessing, questions on the survey.
Yeah, the bullet points. Yep.
Yeah, thank you. I was blanking on bullet points. Number 1, using remote play with a PS4 not connected to the internet. Number 2, playing remote play on a Switch, Apple TV, Android TV, and also Xbox. Number 3, hiding unused controls for the game to allow for more screen real estate. Number 4, a slim portable DualShock controller for portable gaming. Number 5, exclusive maps/accessories for remote play. Number 6, customizable button layout. Number 7, connecting other controllers, in parentheses Xbox, and mouse/keyboard. Number 8, offline remote play. Number 9, PS1 and PS2 games. And number 10, parental controls allow for multiple users to use remote play at the same time.
Whoa. And again, it's a huge vague survey over on Reddit. I think it's still on the PlayStation Reddit. And first and foremost, I'm sorry about the first pun, because that Reddit user's name, You Read It Here First, it's just brilliant, and I love it. Kyle, I got a question for you. This is a vague list.
Yeah.
Do you think they're actually talking about remote play, or do you think they're talking about something bigger?
Part of me is just them. This is, to me, sounds like a gauging interest type thing. Of instead of putting in the resources to actually make this stuff happen, like, would people actually use it if it was a real thing? This reminds me a lot of some other surveys I've gotten with other things before. Like, the one that pops to my mind as I was reading this was the WWE Network would send out surveys to be like, hey, what kind of content do you want? Would you like to see content from other wrestling promotions and lists of wrestling promotions? And we haven't gotten that yet. But I think it's a good way of them just gauging interest here. Yeah. And obviously the ones that mean the most to me out of this list that would be really, really cool would be obviously PS1 and PS2 games. Like, that's what I want the most out of here. Yeah. And it would be cool to be able to use remote play without internet.
That seems crazy.
It does seem crazy. I don't know how it's possible.
Yeah.
But that would be super cool, especially with how many connected devices I have in my house to the internet. I'm sure with remote play being a internet only thing, it will just bog it down and make it a bad experience. So if there's a way they could do that without internet at all, I'm all for it.
Yeah, that one seems to blow my mind. Fonz, I want to know what you think about this, man. What do you think? Are they gauging interest? Do you think that there's something more at play? And what is that, the feature here on the list that speaks to you the most?
I would agree that I imagine they're just gauging interest, although they're definitely conscious that everyone else is going to pick up this story. So I don't know if it's multifaceted, like we're going to gauge interest by talking to people directly, but also seeing how people interpret it, outside in the gaming sphere. But to touch on that last aspect of the doing remote play offline, with the Vita, was that just using your home Wi-Fi? I remember you doing that, but I also so I imagine this is that same kind of technology where you just have your PS4 and you're just streaming to your phone, but it doesn't have to talk to the internet. It can just do locally like that. Yeah.
I'm also thinking it may work like AirPlay does. If you're an iOS user, all you have to do is hook your phone up through your MacBook through Bluetooth, and it'll just recognize that and it'll transfer the information that way. That's how I'm kind of thinking it could work, but still, even there, it kind of blows my mind as well. To me, the thing that I'm the most excited about. I think I'm gonna cheat and say that there's two. So like, yeah, offline remote play, cute. PS1, PS3 games, cute. To me, remote play on a Switch, on Apple TV, on Android TV, also on an Xbox, that gets me really excited. I said this on the Iron Lords podcast of the future of gaming, where it is platforms. We're going to talk about it, down below as we go on tonight. But like now, the possibility of them just even saying Xbox controller, it kind of gives you the sense, the idea where if I said 6 years ago, hey, Xbox is going to explore their games on other platforms, I'd say you're out of your mind. Even just 2 years ago, Xbox was getting a ton of shit for letting their games be on PC. Everybody was like, what's the point? And now Microsoft, through the punches, through the bruises, changed that narrative to talking about a platform. So this gives me hope that I think they're gauging interest for sure. But I also think that remote play and PS Now as well is going to be kind of interwoven into this one entity. And that's what it kind of screams at me here. Being able to play God of War on my Switch, oh my God. You mean I get to be the God of War on the toilet? That's dope. See, this gives me the possibility of a future where, our good friend Luke Lore, our good friend Sean Capri, whoever owns an Xbox, they can go out there and they can just play their PlayStation games on the or on their console of choice, which is Xbox. And maybe even one day vice versa, that happens here where I'm on PlayStation, but I'm playing Game Pass games.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that gets me the most excited.
I do think if the remote play on a Switch thing is in fact a reality in the future, after having used the Vita as remote play and have tried to play games like Spider-Man on my Vita and it just not running well, I can imagine the Switch running into the same kind of issues. Granted, it's more powerful than a Vita, I'm pretty sure. I'm not pretty sure. I know for a fact it's more powerful than a Vita, but I still don't know if it could handle like a God of War, like wirelessly like that. Like,
I think there's going to be caveats
on the Switch. Yeah. So, like, what is that drop off?
For quality going to look like? Again, these are interesting questions, and this would have been the topic of the night. And that's the crazy thing is that there's so much bigger news than this. But yeah, seriously, with that, I think we'd be beating a dead horse if we go any further. I think this is.
I do want to point out one thing that just came in. Whatever. The number 7 though, connecting other controllers, Xbox and mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
After reading that, and while you guys were talking, I was thinking about. I instantly thought of the adaptive controller. Like that would be super cool for PlayStation gamers to be able to use that.
That's true. Wow.
Adaptive controller for PlayStation games if they are in fact not making one themselves, which is stupid.
Yeah.
But I think that would be awesome if they were to allow that to be used for PlayStation as well.
Yeah, I think it's just such a easy. I think that would be such an easy thing for them to do, and also wouldn't hurt their profit margins because I believe in the Luke Lore episode of Xbox Expansion Pass, which you ought to listen to this episode. It's amazing. He talks to it with Steven Spawn of Able Gamers, and they talk about like the accessible controller doesn't make any money for Xbox, but they do it out of the goodwill and knowing that those people will be on their platform. So if PlayStation will go, hey, listen, we don't have to make our own.
Right.
We could just have this thing here.
Yeah.
It's a win-win for literally everybody. I think you're totally right. Actually, that is
devil's advocate. Just and you guys can tackle this here or another show, but also
go for it.
What's to make us think that Sony will do this? They're a company that 3 years ago we had to drag them into this whole cross-play idea. So it seems like this is a full-blown like this is us fantasizing almost. Like what would be the benefit to them?
Yeah, it's kind of like sleeping with Scarlett Johansson or Chris Evans, right? It's a huge what if, and we're romancing them all night, and then like Chris Evans fights like a bunch of like future Nazis, and you're like, oh, Chris, you save me, ravish me. But no, I think you're totally right. This is a crazy what if scenario, but I also think Jim Ryan is a different leader than a Sean Layden or an Andy House. He is way more focused on making PlayStation a brand and doing whatever needs to happen to to maintain dominance, he's all for it.
Gotcha.
So I think you're seeing them open up to crossplay and all these different crazy ideas because they're seeing Xbox taking the risks and getting punished for it, but then doing it, and then it's all of a sudden cool. It's a double standard. It isn't fair, but he takes advantage of that situation until gamers realize, hey, wait, actually, Sony isn't really the true leader or innovator. It's this other guy. I think Jim Ryan will just kind of ride the coattails of Phil Spencer a little bit. But do you think the same there? I was going to call you Sean.
You were going to call me Sean?
Kyle, yeah. Do you think the same thing?
I mean, I love you, Sean, but how dare you?
Whoa.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think because of all the turnover in PlayStation executive land, I think all those people have a vision, and I think that vision is kind of opening up for more things because we've seen that in the past year from PlayStation of the crossplay stuff and which would have been a no-brainer if they weren't just so dead set against it.
But now just seeing them change and embrace other crazy things and turning PlayStation now into a almost competitor to Game Pass. They're just missing offline play, and they're missing, putting their exclusives on there to really match, toe to toe for what Xbox is doing there. But I think it's awesome. With that, Kyle, what's the next bit of news? Which is kind of crazy.
Peter Brown over at GameSpot. Wonderful 101 remaster coming to PS4, PC, and Switch. Confirming earlier rumors, Platinum Games has now launched a Kickstarter campaign for the Wonderful 101 Remastered, a Switch port of the Wii U exclusive with a funding goal of $50,000 until the campaign wraps on March 6th. And in less than 30 minutes, the initial funding goal for the campaign was a success. And the time since launch, crowdfunding has pushed past the $500,000 milestone, which means the remaster is coming to Steam and PlayStation 4 alongside the Switch.
One quick question. Did you guys see the trailer to this announcement?
Nope.
I haven't watched the trailer, no.
Okay. After this podcast, trust me, you're going to want to watch it. People, pull over in your cars right now. Give it a look-see. I'm telling you to pause our show because it is the biggest acid trip I have ever seen in my life. It's like a normal, the offices of Platinum Games. Everybody's in office. Should we remake this game? Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a giant rodent, can't even say rat or possum, jumps in and just starts talking crazy nonsense. And then everybody, the creative director comes in, sucker punches this rodent, and then everybody beats this thing while it's down. And then immediately, I didn't even need to see gameplay. I was in.
You're right. I feel like everyone else on Kickstarter, too, they watched that and said, oh, I'm in now.
Yeah. Oh, do we fight the rodent? I've never played Wonderful 101. I have no idea what it looks like. It looks a little bit like a bunch of Beautiful Joes came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, no, I know that they're strong Beautiful Joe vibes, and it's the same dev, right, for sure, for that. Yeah, and so...
I believe so.
But I just kind of disregarded it when it was on Wii U, and so, but it's really well loved.
Seeing it now, are you guys, thinking about going for it, dipping your toe in the water? What say you, Fonzie?
No, but I love that people are getting this. There seems like there's a huge demand for it. That Kickstarter is nuts. Yeah. It's at $1,300,000 now. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. So I love that the fans are getting this.
Yeah. What about you, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm happy for the fans to get this game that most people believe has been lost on a Wii U in that ecosystem. For me, it's not something that I would pick up day one. Maybe after I see some more gameplay from it, for sure.
Yeah. It's crazy that this game's coming out in April.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, does that wave some type of red flag? Because just a few weeks ago, they announced that they're going to start publishing their own games and that they had 10-cent money. Why go on Kickstarter for this campaign if you got 10-cent money? What do you say about that, Fonz? I know they've gotten some criticism, not a lot about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It seems like Nintendo is just kind of letting them take that property and say, if you guys can drum up the support and the funding, go for it. It seems interesting for them to be practicing that model. It seems like Bayonetta, they're not going to give that away at all for sure. Yeah. It's going to stay on Nintendo. Yeah. But it's interesting. It just seems like a weird concept. You think they'd have the money for it, unless I guess they just don't want to give it up.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest thing that I glean from this is $50,000 the cost of a remaster? Is that really how low it is to remaster a game?
So like as a marketing, that's a marketing ploy. They
Sure.
purposely put goals
Make it
lower
attainable.
Gotcha.
to make it obtainable, and so that
Gotcha,
it,
okay.
it gets hype because of that. So
Once you reach
I bet,
enough.
yeah, like you hit a headline, and when you're big enough, you'll be able to hit a headline. So yeah, they have a fan base that's dedicated, and that will drum up PR for them, good publicity for them, and yeah, that it will just it worked, right? I think it kind of goes to show as well. This game wasn't a huge success enough so that Nintendo didn't want anything to do with it, so they let them go out and publish this game on their own. And it also goes to show that Platinum didn't have all the faith in the world, because if you just got all this Tencent money, you want to build something big with it. I don't think you want to go back into your backlog. So it kind of goes to show that they're testing the waters as well. They don't know what the support was going to look like as well. That's how I at least took from
And this
it.
also seems to be like the first of 4 announcements Platinum's doing
Apparently
on the website. Yeah,
it's nuts.
Okay.
It's nuts. With that, famous Seamus writes in, he asks, are there any Wii U games besides the wonderful 101 that you would like to see on the PlayStation 4? I'm going to hit you right back with an answer, Seamus. I don't even need to ask the other two dorks. It is Splatoon. Just give me Splatoon.
You calling us dorks and bring Splatoon to the table?
Go fuck yourself. Splatoon's dope as shit, dude. You're a squid, then you're a kid, then you're a squid, then you're a kid, then you're a squid and a kid. Oh my god, the possibility. I love that game so much. Give that to me. Kyle, is there a Wii U game that you would have wanted on the on PS4? You can include a Nintendo title like I did.
Yeah, I don't want to take the easy route and say like the Super Mario 3D Land.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Which is exactly what I was gonna do, but go for it.
Okay.
Fonz, why is it 3D World? Why is it 3D?
Oh, I mean, really, my quick answer is actually all of them are on the Switch that I was interested in. So really, I mean, there's nothing left there for me.
Yeah.
But that also was my easy answer, was jumping on that one there.
Yeah. I mean, it would be cool to just have a Mario game on PS4. Period.
Yeah,
sure.
It would be.
Yeah, I owned a Wii U, but I didn't really get a lot of games for it, and the only games I can think of that are like exclusive to Wii U, I think of in my mind have already been ported. Like that zombie game is already also.
That's true. It used to be Zombie U. They dropped the U.
Yeah.
What about Bayonetta 2? Right.
Bayonetta. Well, we are getting Bayonetta, but that was PS3.
That was the PS3 one. That's the first one.
Right.
Yeah. So there you go. Easy answer.
That'd be cool.
Look at that teamwork. Marcus O'Neill writes in via the Constante Bad Bit server. He asks, with the incredible success of the wonderful 101 Kickstarter, I'm curious if any of you have ever kickstarted a game before. Have you done it, Fonz? Have you partaken in the Kickstarter?
Yeah, I've been heavy into it lately. It seems like there's a couple of indie games I've been kickstarting, and as long as the entry point is low enough and I get a copy of the game, then I'm always on board. Like if it depends on the title, but if it's around $15-20 and I get a copy of the game, then sweet.
You just like go for it. I like that. Now is that also because because you have, I almost spilled my, because you have an indie dev that is on your team who is a close friend of yours, you see that as like, hey man, I'm supporting people like my friend, that's going to help boost them up as well? Is that kind of like your way of thinking?
Yeah, for sure. And some of the other devs we've interviewed, like that Kickstarter plan is so vital in that first couple of days. If you don't, apparently the statistics are, if you don't get that funding within the first days, a lot of them just drop off. So those first days are crucial. So it always makes me, want to jump in and help them out and just boost those numbers.
That's awesome. And thank you for doing that as well. Yeah. Kyle, have you ever partaken in a Kickstarter?
I've almost done a couple in my history. For me, and Joe knows this, but like money is so tight for me that I can't. I'd rather get something that is finished right away. Right. I totally would want to. Like I wanted to kickstart Bloodstained really bad. But just I couldn't. But I always browse and look at all these cool projects.
You peruse.
Cool. Peruse. And one day when I have a chance, I will kickstart a bunch of stuff for sure. Yeah,
I've kickstarted only one game. That was Chicken Wiggle. And so when I see that game in my hand, I bet I'll be very excited.
You said Chicken Wiggle?
Yeah, Chicken Wiggle. It's a 3DS game. Jules Watcham made it a 2E.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So yeah, I've
When you're
only done
balling,
one game
when
before.
you're balling like me, see, look at this set. I'm just throwing out
Yeah, man.
Kickstarters left and right.
Yeah.
I'm just making a raid.
Patreon.com/badbit. Anyway, with that, the second part of his question, Marcus asked, "Can you describe a game that can be remastered or new that would absolutely 100% kickstart on day one? That we would kickstart on day one. The only restriction is that it must be a title that could realistically expect to be seen funded via Kickstarter." AKA Joe, that means no Bloodborne 2. 1,779 days since the original Bloodborne. Kyle, if there's a game that's getting remastered, or I'm gonna even say spiritual successor, what is it?
Sure. Again, I immediately went to like Mass Effect, but I don't think that's what he means by realistically.
Yeah.
So I would love to have a collection of PlayStation 1 era platformers, kind of like the Capcom Disney bundle, the like afternoon bundle, but have like Croc, Legend of the Gobos, Klonoa, have Gex. You know, like
I could do Gex.
Things.
I could do Gex for sure. That's the only PS1 game we had.
I miss those PlayStation platformers, man. I want them back real bad. So I would kickstart any one of those.
Hell yeah. Fonz, what would you do?
You know, I hate to keep going off brand. The first thing I think of is like a Splinter Cell, that kind of thing, where there's been so much like rumors every once in a while, and there's a huge demand for it. And maybe they keep working on titles and shelving them, but there's people are hungry for that.
Yeah, I mean, on the other end,
great answer.
Filter would be a great one too.
Yep, that's a huge franchise they could bring back.
For me, I would love the original team behind Dead Space to make a spiritual successor.
That one for sure. There's an indie game out there. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's like taking that idea and running with it, and it's a play on Dead Space. It's like negative death or whatever. It's taking that idea and trying to provide that. But yeah, I'll send you a link.
Please send me an ASAP, because I would literally just, I'm not even kidding around. I have no money. I'd throw at least $100 at that Kickstarter. I'd be like, go do it, whatever you need to do. Nice. 100% a spiritual successor to Dead Space. With that, here's a new segment, because you know what? There's PS5's news every other week. Rumors, it's going to look like an octagon. Who knows at this point? It's a new segment I like to call simply the PlayStation 5 Watch. Kyle, would you like to start?
PlayStation launches a PS5 section on their website. The website states, "We've begun to share some of the incredible features you can expect from PlayStation 5, but we're not quite ready to fully unveil the next generation of PlayStation. Sign up below to be among the first to receive updates as we announce them, including news on the PS5 release date, PS5 price, and upcoming roster of PS5 launch games." Really quick before you get into it, Joe.
Yeah.
It's really weird reading PS5. I'm not used to it yet.
We'll get there. Trust me, I'm still like messing up with like Xbox Series X.
I think what it is, it's the S and the 5 are very similar with the bottom part of it.
It's almost like weird. Someone just hit delete and then entered 5 in the same font. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, no, I get confused. Maybe I'll buy a PS3 when Christmas happens. Not confused. Alongside the new website, IGN has this to share. Kyle, take it away.
Chris Priestman at IGN. PS5 price is a balancing act, maybe influenced by Xbox Series X price. Sony hasn't fully decided on a price for the PlayStation 5 yet. It seems this is in part due to wanting to see how its competition, the Xbox Series X, is priced, as well as a number of other monetary factors. Sony had its Q3 earnings call this week, during which Chief Financial Officer Hiroki Totoki stated he intends to ensure a smooth transition for Sony from the PS4 to PS5. Totoki said, quote, "What is not very clear or visible, it's because we are competing in the space. So it's very difficult to discuss anything about the price at this time. And depending upon the price level, we may have to determine the promotion that we are going to deploy and how much cost we are prepared to pay. So it's a question of balance," end quote. Totoki notes that given PlayStation 5 is competing with Xbox Series X, which has also yet to be given a price, it's very difficult to discuss anything in relation to price without tipping the company's hand. Whether this means Sony will wait until Xbox announces price first, or the company ultimately decides to announce a price first, is unclear. But for now, the approach suggests Sony is willing to wait on this announcement. However, Totoki's statements also implied that the pricing, which apparently is not set in stone, will also factor into the level of promotion needed to sell the PS5.
First off, let's talk about this man's name and celebrate it as a community.
I hope I said it right. I apologize.
Listen, right. if you didn't, I think he'd be thanking you. Hiroki Totoki. He sounds like a cute little chibi figure. I love it. I want a chibi version of this man. I don't know what he looks like, but we need it. I think we need it more than ever nowadays.
He's actually just jacked like The Rock. He's actually like, hey.
My name's Hiroki. You can call me Henry. You want one of me, bitch? Anyway, did you see the Fast 9 trailer?
Hey, bro.
Famous Seamus, he's drinking muscle milk. God damn it, I'm getting ahead of myself. Famous Seamus writes in via the Kazade Bad Bit Discord server. He asks, which do you believe will be more expensive, the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X? PlayStation is playing fast and, fast and loose with the pricing and just with this console in general. We don't know where they're going. Do you think they're nimble enough to say, hey, we're going to take a $100 loss to make sure that we are ahead of Xbox? What do you think is going to be the price there? Fonzie, I'm going to go with you first.
Yeah, this one, I have mixed feelings about it. So are we seeing them kind of decide as a company, we want to learn from our mistakes with that, with the way they handled the PS3, the PS2 success going into the PS3, dropping that $600 bomb and saying deal with it. And they're actually more forward conscious, thinking we need to adjust with Xbox. I like that idea, but also I really don't like that they're just like waiting to the end of the line to decide on this price. Yeah. It makes me feel weird. It seems like we're on the playground and we're just talking to each other like as kids, like, hey, you know what? They're actually waiting till Xbox shows up at E3 and shows a price, and then they're writing it down really quick and then showing it. It's like there's a lot of planning involved, but I feel weird about it.
Yeah. Kyle, what say you? Do you feel weird as well?
I do feel a little weird, but I also think when it comes to Famous Seamus's question, I do think their PlayStation is going to try to be like, hey, we are the cheaper one, because I do think Series X will be more expensive, just because of the rumors that their Series X is like their higher end model. Right. Like I expect another new Xbox underneath that to kind of be on the PS5 level as far as like price.
Yeah, I the only mistake that I see out of Xbox is if they do launch 2 SKUs at once. Seeing a Lockhart, whatever they're going to call that, and seeing the Series X, that does give me the idea that, the Series X is going to be the most powerful console this generation, but probably way more expensive. And if it is true that they're launching 2 SKUs. But I do see PlayStation's thinking to themselves, well, we'll just take a loss like we did with the PS4, and hopefully with the implementations of like PlayStation Now and then a more robust, hopefully PlayStation Plus down the line, that's going to make up, the services are going to make up for the loss in sales hardware wise. So I definitely think it's going to be least expensive, but I also do think it's going to be underpowered comparatively to the Series X. Sure. That's what I think for sure.
Yeah, and I agree with Fonzie. I don't want the PS3 situation again, because that was god awful.
Right. Yeah. I'm assuming they're learning from that, it seems like it, because they're willing to change that price, all the way up to the end. But I do think we can expect the PS5 to be a bit, marginally less powerful than the Series X, just because, at least as far as we know about the Series X, it's like a crazy, freaking dream machine that they're really going all out, but to just try and gain that edge. But I think, PS5 can hang out in the wing. They can provide something that's pretty powerful and still feed that hunger from the PlayStation fans.
Absolutely. Mr. Spiky writes in via the Twitter at PS Trophy Room, or you could just call him Spike. Mr. is his dad's name. Will all the PS4 games be available on the PlayStation Store on the PlayStation 5? I absolutely think so. What do you think, Fonz?
I don't see why not. I mean, if you can get people willing to pay right off the bat with PS5, and if that trickle of games is going to be kind of small with that release window, why not let people buy PS4 games that have that, I'm assuming, some kind of up-res, ability to play in 4K and whatnot. So yeah, why not?
Yeah. Do you think there's going to be an up-res version of every game, or do you think it's going to be select games are going to get that up-res?
Yeah, that one's tough. I wonder, because you have Cyberpunk releasing pretty close to that that window. So how long do they wait? 17th? Right. Yeah. And so when we can imagine expecting PS5 and Xbox Series X. Yeah, it's tough. I'm trying to think, and you guys can take it over. Our transition from PS3 to PS4, what were those upgrades like? It sounds like they actually just released full on titles later on, like say with Last of Us and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so for like the PS3, because it was such a bitch to,
Right.
code for, what they decided on doing was, hey, all of our big hitters, all of our must-have titles, we're going to remaster. So you saw that with like God of War 3, you saw that with The Last of Us, you saw that with the Uncharted series, and then also smaller titles like Shadow of the Colossus and stuff.
Right.
So yeah. What say you, Kyle? What do you think? PS4 games on PS5, are they going to be up-res, do you think?
That's it. I don't know if they'll all be up-res right up front. I believe probably all like the heavy hitters PlayStation 4 games will be up-res for sure.
Mhm.
And then they can slowly trickle them out, like have updates for up-res versions. Because like if the rumor is true where all PS4s will work on PS5, like by putting discs in, yeah, that makes sense to like put it in and then just download the patch and make it all 4K and stuff to it. So
yeah, I would think the same, but I also want to go a step further and to say that the Xbox One and One X, if I'm not mistaken, automatically up-reses older previous Xbox games to 1080 without any software involved. So I do think we're going to see something pretty nuts. Like, hey, all mainline PlayStation games that could be 4K that were checkerboarded are now all true 4K. Sure. I could actually absolutely see that as well. With that, Kyle, listen, PlayStation may think Xbox is their competition, but Xbox thinks otherwise. Let's read this story.
Matt Kim from IGN writes, Xbox boss doesn't consider Nintendo or Sony as their biggest competitors. A new console generation is almost here, but even though there are flashes of the old console rivalry with the imminent release of the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, Xbox boss Phil Spencer says he's more worried about Amazon and Google. In an interview with Protocol, Spencer explained, quote, I don't want to be in a fight over format wars with Nintendo and Sony, while Amazon and Google are focusing on how to get gaming to 7 billion people around the world. Ultimately, that's the goal, end quote.
Okay, real talk here. Is this fluff from Phil? Do you actually think they're trying to reach 7 billion people, that idea is going to actually pan out? Or is this kind of like what we saw with VR, where everybody was just like, you know what the future of gaming is? You put it on your fucking head. And then you had all these investors just toss bundles of cash at it, and then it doesn't truly pan out. Because I know for me as a gamer, though I would love the idea, and I know we were getting excited about playing games on the go and playing them on our toilet. Let's all be realistic. That's what's happening. At the same exact time, if I want to play Uncharted, I do want to play it on my PlayStation 4 at home, experiencing that theater, right? That my headphones and whatnot. So like, do you think that this is a smart idea on Phil Spencer's part, or do you think that Sony possibly has put themselves in a corner by doing a more traditional route? I'm gonna go with you, Fonz, first.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think we are seeing a somewhat of a divergent of paths where Xbox, because they're behind this gen and basically, I guess, quote unquote, lost it. They're really trying to get that build a platform and have any way you can play it. You'll buy it, you'll pay for the subscription. And PlayStation is taking this route where they're more traditional, where you buy the console, you get it on there. I feel like gamers really still are stuck in that traditional mode where they want to buy the console, they want to buy the thing for it. So it's kind of tough, but we're also in a Netflix world where you can just download that everywhere, or, on any platform you have, any device you have rather. So we're in a weird spot. I'm not sure.
Do you think it's like a transitional time right now?
For sure.
Like we're in a traditional stage. Yeah.
For sure. As we gain the ability to stream it's not working yet. We see stuff like Stadia, but these companies are trying and they're throwing millions of dollars at it for a reason. They're just waiting for the infrastructure, for that demand there. But yeah, we're transitioning into leaving somewhat of that an actual need for a console, but still having it for the power, but wanting to have it on a phone, on a Switch, on your computer. It's nuts. It's getting weird, and I like it, but it's kind of hard to tell where it's going.
Yeah. What about you, Kyle? Do you think 4 or 5 years from now we're going to see Xbox be a dominant platform simply because they have reached 7 billion people?
Yeah, I think for sure we can see that happening. I also think part of this quote by Philly Boy here, right, or what he's saying is like basically Sony went to them for help with the Azure server stuff.
Yeah.
So I think in a way he's like, oh, they're so far from even coming close to what we have with xCloud.
Yeah.
That like we don't have to worry about that portion of it anyway. And also, like, I mean, as PlayStation fans here on the show, everyone and their mother seems to have a PlayStation 4 at this point.
Absolutely.
So like PlayStation is killing it, and they just need to work on getting that same kind of loyalty and love, and to go out and get the systems. Because I'm not sure, again, not an Xbox person, but I know at least for the 360 and the PS3 era, I believe Europe was not a huge Microsoft like
no, and that
territory.
And that's the thing. I'll take over and say here. I think Xbox knows when you take a look at the top 5 consoles of all time, it is officially the PS1, now the PlayStation 4 that has reached 108 million units sold. Then it's the Wii, and then I believe it's the
PS2.
No, PS2 is number 1. I think number 4 might be the Nintendo DS, if I'm not mistaken. And then number 5 is the PlayStation 3. It literally, just because of the PlayStation sales numbers that just happened, everything's now flipped. So yeah,
PS2,
okay,
Nintendo DS,
right,
Game Boy Color.
Oh, the home consoles.
PlayStation home consoles. Okay, so PS2, PS4, PlayStation, Wii, and PS3.
There you go. Thank you. Dang. So those are the top 5 consoles, and you get to see
Xbox 360 is right after PS3.
Yeah, even when you get to like you take handhelds out of the equation, the top selling consoles are PlayStation and Nintendo consoles, right? Except for the 360 that came close. But when you take a look at that, Microsoft sees that and they go, okay, well, look, we're gonna always be the Mets. The Mets are a great team, but we're never gonna make it into the World Series again. It was a flop. I'm sorry, Kyle. I know it hurts. I get it. I get it.
The thing that hurts the most is I almost shook my head in agreement, and then I realized what you said, and now I'm filled with hatred.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. But that's the thing is Xbox knows where they are in the hardware landscape. But what they do see is an opportunity somewhere else to make a shit ton of cash. So it's not about making, 7 billion people a customer, because let's be honest, the kids that are mining for gold out in Africa are not having a fucking, a Samsung Galaxy. That's not the realism. That's a harsh truth for you all to swallow. It is about getting anybody that doesn't have a console yet to have something that's super accessible for them. I think that's what Microsoft really wants, is to hope that they'll be on Game Pass moreover than buying a game console or a game itself. And I think that's what they're really trying to push. So I do believe that Phil Spencer is not looking to be, competitor with PlayStation as far as like hardware is concerned. I would like to see Game Pass on PlayStation. Give it to me, please. Give me what I want.
Yeah, for sure.
Any last thoughts before we get into one of the last stories of the night?
No, just to jump on that last little bit, I do think, with Xbox, their tactic might be, let's just get it on everywhere. Everyone has a phone. If we can get it there, and especially if we can get subscriptions, it seems like everyone is really more concerned with subscriptions going forward, because that's just dedicated money every month. As far as from a financial aspect, like they can just count on that being there, and it boosts the numbers. So maybe that's the real battle will be for subscriptions,
especially for the real dummies like myself who forget to cancel before it goes through.
Same. And that's how they get you. And then you'll be like, oh, I gotta cancel that. Oh, but you know how you have to ask you questions. Forget again. With that, I gotta cancel a subscription. Now that I think about it. With that, Kyle, great point as well. I do hope that they improve PS Now so that I do subscribe to that service, because I do want it, but it needs to be worth it. Kyle, let's get into one of the last stories here.
Tom Phillips from Eurogamer writes, PlayStation's Manchester studio to shut down. PlayStation will shut down its Manchester-based VR studio, Eurogamer sister site GamesIndustry.biz confirmed last night. Quietly formed in May 2015 as Northwest Studio and later renamed Manchester Studio, the team was founded to work on an unannounced PlayStation VR project. Manchester Studio was yet to ship its own game. All staff are believed to have been made redundant. PlayStation told GI.biz it had shut the studio, quote, as part of our efforts to improve efficiency and operational effectiveness, end quote. The decision brings back memories of fellow PlayStation studio Gorilla Cambridge's demise in 2017 after working on PSVR game Rigs. Manchester studio also employed former Evolution staff. The Drive Club developer PlayStation shut down in 2016 while working on Drive Club VR.
Of course, our thoughts go out to everybody affected because this obviously sucks for them, and as they have to go out and find jobs, it's always shit. It sucks to be unemployed.
Also,
always
what a
the worst.
harsh term. All staff are believed to have been made redundant.
Yeah,
It's very harsh.
God, can you
Is that
better
UK phrasing?
verbiage?
It's
think
gotta
it is.
be, right?
Yeah, but they're pretty brutal with how they phrase that for sure.
Yeah, dude, exactly. Holy crap. With that, I got a question for you guys. Now, I don't know, Fonzie, do you have a PSVR headset?
I don't. I never jumped in. I was always on the fence, waiting for a good deal, and it passed me up. But it's one thing that I do want to get. I'm still, a fan. I want to jump in.
Does this, though, maybe harsh your vibe a little bit? Does this make you hesitant on jumping aboard, seeing PlayStation axe a studio like this?
Right.
Or you're like, they never produce a game, why bother?
I don't think this really bums me out. As far aside from these people losing their jobs for sure. As far as does this show they're losing commitment to VR? I don't think so. I was looking up recently. There's still 5 million PSVRs out in the wild that have sold. I think they spent the work building the install base, and now I imagine they'll rely heavily on the third party, on the indies, because you can always use them to just kind of fill this gap until they release these bangers, these tentpole VR games.
Yeah. Kyle, what say you? Does this harsh your vibe at all? Does this get you, again, more than the redundancies? Yeah. Do you feel like this is a warning sign for PSVR?
Not so much a warning sign, but I am bummed that a studio that was solely focused on VR games is no longer a thing. Because off the top of my head, what do we have? We have London Studio that is pretty much a VR.
And Media Molecule. Those are the only two companies left in London. Sorry, England,
yeah, but I mean, just like solely focused on VR stuff.
Well,
it's hard to come up with like a Sony developer that's really just because like London Studio. What else have they put out that's not VR at this point, right?
I mean, you also got
Japan Studio.
Exactly, I was about to say Japan Studio. Well, I think here's the thing that a lot of people aren't thinking of. If you don't mind me butting in,
yeah, go ahead.
I think the PlayStation looks at the way that they were making PSVR games and going, I think we're doing it a little bit wrong. I think, like London Studio has been so successful at pushing out PSVR games that they're keeping them. But I also think that they're looking at internal studios that already have the infrastructure to make awesome PlayStation games. With that in mind, Insomniac comes straight to my mind. With that acquisition, you have several teams, I believe it's 2 or 3 within Insomniac that are VR focused games that they made. I forget, but a ton of Oculus and a ton of Rift games. Yeah, so I think they're looking at their internal studios, looking at the experience that they have over there and bringing it into the VR front. And I think, Fonz, you're right as well, as to say, listen, we'll bring in indies, will pay them outright for timed exclusive stuff as we wait for probably better hardware to come before we push out something. Because I think they still believe in it, or else why would we be getting Iron Man VR?
That's true.
Yeah. So to me, I think it's them just restructuring and rethinking the way that they approach PSVR. But I really just want a solo unit. I would love it to like, hey, it's not even powered by the PS5. You could have it powered if you want, but like it's on the go, battery powered. Give it to me right now, like the Oculus Quest, because I really want Oculus Quest. So with that, again, thoughts. Thank you. Jeez. Seriously, anybody affected? My thoughts go out to you. With that, Kyle, our last segment of the night called "Rumor Has It."
So please take this with a huge grain of salt, listeners. This comes from Francesco De Mayo from a website called WCC Tech. Like I said, take this with a grain of salt. Batman Arkham's new game will be a soft reboot that will launch a DC game universe. Superman Next Gen game is in the works. The next entry in the Batman Arkham series has been teased profusely these past few weeks, but an announcement has yet to be made. In a new report posted by Geeks Worldwide, it is revealed that the next Batman Arkham game is going to be a soft reboot of the series, as other sources revealed earlier this month. Additionally, the game will launch a cohesive DC Games universe, and it will apparently be followed by a new DC game from Rocksteady, as well as a next-gen Superman game. Not much else is said about the next Batman Arkham game. The report mentions once again the ability to play as the whole Bat family and the introduction of co-op into the series. The game is launching this fall on unspecified formats. So again, huge grain of salt. But what I like about this is I love how the Arkham series ended with Knight. Right? That was a great ending to the Batman story that Rocksteady has put forward, and with WB Montreal's entry with Origins.
Mm-hmm.
I am totally okay with them doing a full reboot and having a connected DC Games universe that doesn't have to rely on the Arkham history and can tell its own Batman tale, and then we can get more superhero games that weave in to it. Like, I am all for that.
Is Kevin Conroy going to be voicing Batman?
I'm okay if he doesn't.
He is getting older. He was in a robot suit that looked real bad in that one.
It's nothing against Kevin Conroy, but if they really want to do a soft reboot, I go in a completely different direction. Don't have him voicing Batman.
Yeah, Geeks Worldwide makes me think of Prestige Worldwide. Yes. I get a good chuckle on that.
I saw you giggle when I said, I was like, yeah, I get the same thing.
Geeks Worldwide, wide. But no, that I think that'd be really cool for a Superman game. I want to know what a Superman game looks like and how that would work out. I do like the whole interconnected universe that DC Games wants to try since the movie version looks too great.
Hey, Birds of Prey is apparently super fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch it actually this Friday, so I'm on board. With that said, again, take it with a grain of salt. Fonz, does this get you hyped? Where are you on the DC U or GU now, not EU?
The DC goo.
The DC goo. I'm medium to definitely interested more at the idea of that. I guess it would explain more why WB Montreal is taking their sweet time. Maybe they're hoping to kind of link this with something bigger, larger. The idea of a Superman game, I really want to see someone tackle this and succeed at it, because it's just been, for sure, like lived in infamy with the Superman 64. So yeah, I mean, it'd be awesome. It's going to be tough to pull off, but I think they could do it. They really have the basis of a strong Batman game franchise. So yeah, I don't know. You mentioned the idea of rebooting it. I like the idea too. That it makes sense with kind of creating a new storyline with that older voice actor that I'm not familiar with who voiced the last Batman. You could bring him in and do a Batman Beyond. He could be an old Batman. I mean, I'm crunk for that.
Oh fuck me, dude! What if you're Dick fucking Grayson himself? Holy shit! Like you're Dick Grayson Batman, and Kevin Conroy Batman is old ass Batman. So you kind of get a mixture of Beyond, and you get a mixture of the Dick Grayson Batman that we don't see. That'd be fucking bonkers. Oh my god, I'm on board.
And as far as like the Batman game itself, and I think we've mentioned it maybe like before on an episode, but now that it's WB Montreal and it's a WB, put the Nemesis system in this game. I want the Batman rogues. You put them away in jail, and then they bust out of Arkham, and they remember you.
Yeah, they're coming straight for you. Yep.
And they're coming at you with a new scheme to try to take down the Bat.
If Batman put me in prison and I escape, the thing that I'm doing the most is getting the fuck out of Gotham City.
Sure, yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, I this does sound cool, but again, take it with a huge grain of salt. And I put this in here, or you put this in. I let you have it because I know how much you truly love Batman. So here we go.
I can't wait to see another image teased in a week or two, and then wait another month.
Right. This is the reality we live in, because this is a slow trickle of Batman, news that we're getting. Just show us already.
Yeah, just show us. Come on. Just whip it out. See what you got to prove.
Yep. Let's measure it. Let's figure it out.
Fonz, I love you. Real talk. This is a great episode right now. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling the vibes. With that, before we get into the drop, before we hold on to something, just some flash news. The Dreams full release will come 3 days earlier for early access members, so it will come on the 11th instead of the 14th.
Sweet.
And PlayStation Now, I almost said Plus again, new arrivals will be The Evil Within, Lego Worlds, and City Skylines. 2 of those games are bangers. The other one, we all know it's Lego. With that, Kyle, with that, Fonz, are you holding on to something?
Am I holding on to something? Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Hold on to the table. Hold on to it.
My pants aren't on, but I'm holding on to something.
Oh, good. Prepare the drop. Each and every week, PlayStation drops the latest and greatest in all things gaming onto the PlayStation storefront. The only problem is that there are way too many awesome games to list. So each host picks a game that they're the most excited for. This week, February 4th, 2020. Kyle, what is your pick?
My pick is Panda Ball. On a tropical island in the middle of the world of Pamuria exists. With an array of different environments and no immediate danger, life on Pamuria is perfect. But when life is that peaceful and perfect, a sense of boredom eventually begins to build up. It looks cute. I love pandas.
Now,
I don't even know if it's a sports game with pandas, but it looked like pandas playing soccer in the title screenshot. So okay, I'm in.
Let me unbutton this last button on my shirt because things are about to get pretty intense right here, right now. I'm about to get really heated. Okay, you know what Pamuria sounds like, Kyle?
No.
Have you ever played? This button's really hard to get off.
God, are you about to go into a Warcraft rant?
Pandaria. It's a continent below the Eastern Kingdoms, and God, why can't Kalimdor? Okay, it's beneath those two. It's right there. It's hidden by a shroud of mist. They find it. Hijinks ensues. Only kidding. It's Hellscream's son takes over, and it's a whole big war. It's a really cool expansion. It's one of my favorites. And there you go. Who's Garrosh? There you go. Oh, so rusty. I'm a Warcraft lord. Yes, I did get Warcraft 3 refunded. It's not good. With that, my pick: Zombie Army 4, Dead War. Hitler's hordes are back for more in this spine-chilling shooter. Oculate enemies, epic weapons, and a new campaign for 1 to 4 players await as you fight to save humankind from the undead Armageddon. That's also super xenophobic. I added that part in. Thank me later.
Also, that word is a cult, by the way.
What did I say? Oculent?
You said oculent.
Sounds cool.
The succulent zombies. Hans, do you have a pick here? I forgot if we mentioned you.
Also, by the way, I think we found a new Batman voice, right?
Yeah, there it is.
I am the knight.
Damn.
Oh, Fonz, what's your pick for this week?
You know what? My pick was the Dark Crystal, the Age of Resistance Tactics. So first of all, I don't watch the Dark Crystal movies. I know the whole Jim Henson thing looks cool. I don't like tactics games. So the reason why it's actually on my list is just because of that dev. So they worked on the Stranger Things games. I like that they're taking these movie properties. Really? Yeah, I guess the Stranger Things 3 and the first one for sure. But I like that they're able to use these properties, and I want to just see what else they do. So that would be my pick.
There you go. Yeah. With that as well, we also have the Critics' Choice PSN sale. Yeah. As we mentioned earlier, a huge sale dropped right before we started the show. And Kyle, and I mean, there's a list of over 100 games here, it seems.
Yeah, and they're up to 50% off.
Yeah.
I think a couple real quick standouts would be one of your favorites from last year, Plague Tale for $25. You can get Assassin's Creed Odyssey for $15. You can get Astrobot as a VR owner for $18.
Get that game.
My pick out of this whole list, Days Gone for $20. Please go buy Days Gone for $20. Yeah. It's amazing. My pick is actually going to be Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. Nice. For the simple fact that it's $13.19, and it is one of the best shooters of this generation. And people need to play that game. It's brutal in difficulty for sure, but it is so damn good.
I'm gonna toss a coin to my Witcher and just say The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt's only $12. What's your fucking excuse?
Yeah,
seriously. Alphonse, I saved you the one that you were gonna pick. What's that for?
Which one was I going to pick? I gravitated towards Death Stranding. Blasphemous, yes, because I actually bought that one. I bought Blasphemous today. Haven't played it yet, but it looks really dope.
It is made by a Spanish developer where I'm from, yeah. So or my father's from, and so that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna definitely jump on that because I think it's the appropriate price. So I'll definitely hop on that game.
Death Stranding is a great pick too.
It wouldn't show me since I own it. What is the price that they're going for with Death Stranding?
Just $35.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Nice.
Yeah, go get that game, guys.
And last one, Concrete Genie, $18. Go get
that game, please. That's totally worth $18. It's such a great game. And then, of course, if I missed it, and then people will get upset that I didn't do the voice. Red Dead Redemption 2, by God. You get both. Listen here. Listen here. Good there. Listen. You get the Red Dead Redemption 2 for $29.99. Now, you know, I wasn't a huge fan of the sequel. I love Red Dead Redemption, the original, but 2's just as good, I guess, by now. You also get the special edition for that here, $35.99. Now, I know one of you fellers don't like the voice. I don't like doing it, but by God, I get bitched at either which way. It's like I feel like a salami sandwich on a Sunday afternoon, and the kids are barking at me. By God, I say, God. There you go.
Anyways, that sounds good till February
18th. Go for it. With that, Kyle.
Yes.
With that, Fonz, let's get to the last portion of the show. We got 2 great questions for us. It's called Andy House's Snail Mail. Each and every week, you get to send your questions in like you did tonight via the Kase Day Bad Bit Discord server, or you send your questions over at PS Trophy Room on Twitter, or you can send in, just pen a letter over to Andrew House's house each and every week. Sometimes I swim. Sometimes I fly. Yes, I grow wings. Sometimes I walk on water like Jesus Christo himself. I make my way over to Great Britain and I steal Andrew House's mail. This week, super simple, okay? I'm not saying that I have the cosmic treadmill, but yes, I did. And I cosmic treadmilled my way into another dimension, into Andrew House's, wait for it, basement. I got stuck halfway through and I had to shimmy my way out of the ground because I'm not good at the whole cosmic treadmill thing. That's the Flash's job, not mine. And yeah, I creeped on out and I stole his mail. And then I just made a mess of everything. So there you go. There's just dirt everywhere on the floor. I don't know. I'm running out of ideas. Okay, guys, the skit is run its end. What do you want?
Like Andy House needs to move one episode for a new area, just so you can have more content.
Like he walks into his house, he's just like, God damn it, he got in again, and he's just made a mess of my premier rug. It's made of cashmere and old people oats. How dare you, Joseph?
Old people oats.
Yes, it's the finest quality of oat, made from the succulent of most old people's scalps. You just, with a comb, that's how you get them. Anyway, Andrew House's snail mail, we have Nathan writes in with Valentine's Day. Why am I still doing the voice? With Valentine's Day coming up, who is the best video game couple? Nathan, that's a great question. I can't answer it because that is on the next top tier episode, patreon.com/badbit. That's how you get it. We're going to celebrate Valentine's Day by saying who is the hottest couple. You get that at the $5 tier. But since we don't have the list in front of us, we can think of one couple that kind of hotter than the other.
Before we come with one real quick,
sure.
Would you like to tell the people what top tier is in case they don't know what that show is?
Sure. It's a Patreon show at the $5 tier and up, where me and Kyle make the best worst top 5 list ever made. Last month we did the best worst lineup, and let me just tell you, a PS5 lineup, we predicted it. It's awful. It's dog shit. I hate that episode so very much.
I highly suggest you go listen to it and become a patron at the level 2 unlock it, just because you will get to hear me completely not understand what Joe is asking for and
somehow win.
Here's just a little sneak peek. I made up 5 launch games. I didn't come up with like real things. I made them all up. Like what was the first? Uncharted 5 SpaghettiOs when you play as Cassie as a little girl.
It's bullshit. It's just bullshit. And somehow like a goddamn Monster Energy drink game won #1 game. It's bullshit. You don't need to listen to it, but it is. You can find out here. Fuck you, Kyle.
It was so much fun.
But yeah. So with that, Fonz, we come to you. Best video game couple.
Ooh, you know what? This one doesn't make any sense, but it comes to mind first. Do you remember Bionic Commando, the remake? You have that grappling hook. Wasn't it your dead wife somehow in the grappling hook? Do you remember that as a storyline?
Wasn't it Sega or Capcom that made that game?
Yeah. So that'd be my top, but that's my relationship goals, is I can somehow have my dead wife in my hand at all times. I don't know what I'm saying, but yeah, that's my first pick.
Respect it. I respect
that. I respect that as well. For me, I think the hottest couple, let's be honest. Okay, and I won't use this for top tier, I promise. Leon Kennedy and Ada from
Oh.
Resident Evil 2.
Oh yeah.
God, they're both hot. I want to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see that. Kyle, what say you, sir?
I don't know if I can give one away that won't
Just a
be on the
jokey one.
episode.
Just a jokey one.
A jokey one?
Yeah, just a jokey one. Yeah.
Um,
You can say Mario Luigi and you'd be like, wait, what?
I was thinking of that. You know what? Toad and Toadette. There you go.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
just so
are they
wholesome.
related? Is that also incest, you
Oh,
think?
that's a great
even
question.
better.
The mushrooms.
Even better.
Ray writes in, with all the delays being announced, what games do you have already purchased or downloaded that you're looking forward to getting to play now? And he also asks, joke question, he doesn't really mean this. What Quantic Dream game do you hope comes out for PlayStation 5? Only kidding. I know you love Quantic Dream, but they're bad. Sorry, Ray, I love you. Guys, what games that have been delayed already have you already purchased or pre-ordered that you're looking forward to getting to play? Kyle, I'm gonna go with you first. Kyle's been very silent on this. It's an easy answer. It's
I'm
a very
rereading
easy
the
answer.
question because what you just asked, I think, is different from what he's asking.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did my dyslexia kick in?
Well, he said, "What games do you have already purchased or downloaded you get to play now?" So not games that have already been pushed, but what do we have in like our backlog that we're looking forward to?
Oh,
So like for
I'm dumb.
example, on last Friday after we recorded, I actually went to my GameStop and I went to go pick up Pillars of Eternity 2.
Yeah.
They didn't have any in stock, so I had to order it from the GameStop online thing because I had
Gross.
trading credit. And I was supposed to get it this week. I won't get it till next week for some weird reason.
Oh my god. Okay.
But I'm looking forward to playing that. I'm looking forward to I know it's not a great game from what everyone else says, but I've never experienced it. I want to play Mass Effect Andromeda. I want to know what's
I
going
have the
on.
same
$7.
feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
$7
have
on
it.
sale.
I own it. I
Oh.
never played it or put it in.
Okay.
So.
All right, Fonzie, what say you, man? What's a game that you already purchased, downloaded, you're looking forward to getting to play?
Yeah, just and with that same Andromeda thing, I have that same urge too. Like it's always on sale for like $5. I'm like, I need to buy this. I never do. I'll never play it, but I have that same urge. But yeah, no, on that same, I read that question the same way, where I was imagining what games have been pushed that we already have downloaded pre-purchase. I traditionally don't pre-order games. I've never been a fan, and I guess in the last like 5 years or whatever, I don't do it. But
do you buy physical or digital?
I buy them digital, but I wait till I wait till their reviews kind of come out, and I wait to see what I think about it first. But that's just me. I don't know. But also, as far as like backlog stuff, I have Days Gone, and I haven't played it, and I've just never been in the mood to get in there. But I have it.
Kyle loved it. Kyle platinumed it.
I just recently restarted it this month.
Restarted it.
Yeah, I played it on when it first released last year, and the first 8 hours and the bugs and stuff were just not that great. First 8 hours are still kind of a little not that interesting, but once I get after that, it is full sails ahead. It's a great game. It's a good story. It's a great story.
Yeah. Gotcha.
For me, we just mentioned it on the podcast. Man, I gotta learn how to stop pre-ordering games digitally. Last game I did it, you think I'd learned my lesson? That was Anthem.
Oh.
I was like, no way is BioWare going to make a bad game. I have faith in them.
Yeah.
Here we are. And then I was just like, no way is Warcraft 3 Reforged, Joseph's childhood. It's just such a surefire hit. It's going to hit. It's going to do well. And Jesus Christ, it's the lowest rated Metacritic game ever. And they gave me an instant refund. I didn't play it because I was just like, you know what? I'll just wait when this game is actually ready. And they issued this huge statement, and I requested a refund. I thought it would take a day or two, but literally 5 minutes afterwards, bam,
Nice.
refunded.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Next week, though, I will be getting Darksiders Genesis and Dreams. So very
Sweet.
excited about that.
Ooh.
And for Quantic Dreams,
Yeah.
what do you hope do they make for the PlayStation 5? Kyle?
Yeah, so
Gonna let Ray
Right.
go a little bit here? Or you gonna...
no, hey, right. I love Heavy Rain. I enjoyed my time with that game. Don't know if I'll ever play it again, but I appreciate that you love Quantic Dream stuff. What I really want is I want that. Was it the PS3 tech demo or PS4 with the wizard and the goblin?
Okay.
I want that to be a full game, but I don't want David Cage to take it seriously. I want a jokey,
right,
fun Quantic Dream ass game with those two. Like, I
Yeah.
think that'd be kind of fun.
Also, Ray, I forgot to mention, I watched a YouTube video. It was pretty sweet. You did great. For your first video, that's fantastic. You did great. Keep on
I gotta
doing it,
check it
man.
out.
Keep on creating. Yeah. He linked it in the Casa de Babbitt Discord.
Oh,
So
perfect.
shout out to Ray. Thank you for supporting us, and thank you again. It's the only way I know how to give him a good old shout out. But yeah, he made an awesome Apex montage, and I
Oh, sweet.
greatly enjoyed it. With that, I'm gonna let you off easy. I would say, you know what? Do the wizard thing. Do something campy, something fun. Do something different, man. Like, not every game do we have to hit these really big things that you're trying to do, and sometimes they get overly complicated. Yeah, I would like something that's not so serious, but fun instead. Maybe like a Day of the Tentacle thing made by David Cage kind of suit him better. Yeah.
Cool.
Fonz, what do you think, man?
I really liked Detroit. Actually, I really liked not the last one before that, the more combat focused with Juno. What's her face was in it, but
Beyond.
Yeah, not
Beyond.
I didn't
Beyond
really
Two
play
Souls.
much Beyond. Yeah, but also before that, loved the Origami Killer. I'm blanking on the name. You just said it. Heavy Rain. Also, never played again, but I loved playing it while I did play it. There's that title before that was on last gen. It's called Fahrenheit Overseas. I'm blanking on the name in the U.S.
9/11.
No.
Nope.
No. It's definitely
You play as
Fahrenheit.
Michael Moore. Yeah.
Is it? I'm pretty sure it's also called Fahrenheit.
I could quickly Google it, I'm sure, but I think it had like two different names.
Indigo Prophecy.
There you go.
There it
It's
is.
Indigo Prophecy over here. It's Fahrenheit.
That one, I love that. That's what kickstarted my fascination with this style of game, and so I would love to see that just up-res on PS5.
Cool.
Maybe that could be cool. I hear it gets wonky towards the end, but I never actually played it.
Yeah.
That's what David Cage is. He gets wonky at the end, but I will say I appreciate him for making this type of game so popular.
Yeah, for sure.
I do think it's the success of games like Indigo Prophecy, games like Heavy Rain, have like led to maybe even Telltale, their rise as well. I think those two companies really lend themselves well to boosting the point and click game again. With that, let's get into the next segment, which I also got to blow my nose because all of a sudden I got very, very congested. One second.
How does Arthur Morgan blow his nose? Actually, what's
Oh no! Why?
What'd you say there about Gown? How do I feel about it? Before we go, I just want to thank our patrons over. I know I beat you over the head this episode of Patreon by doing little jokes, but seriously, we forgot to do it last month, so we're going to do it at the beginning of every month. You guys and gals know that supporting the show at any level, every month, Phil Spencer, our intern, comes in and he does and provides us with a list of all the patrons that have supported us over the last month. And with that, let's start the filibuster with Ray Martinez himself. Thank you so much at the $15, the Silver Plus tier. Jonathan Brown at the Silver Plus tier. Daniel Welsh at the Silver Plus tier. Brandon Myers, the Winter Gamer himself. Damn it, we activate him again at the Silver tier. Max Deckersmith at the $5 tier. And now we're just going to start going because if I do say $5 tier, it's going to get very long. Anyway, Todd Aksha at the let me restart this. I forgot. Magic of editing. And now let's start with our Bronze Plus tier, and that is Max Deckersmith, Todd Aksha, Matthew, Andrew Furman, Catherine. Jeez, I always forget. I always say Kathleen. What's wrong with me? Aaron Doherty, Marcus O'Neill. At the $3 tier, we got famous Seamus himself, Sean Capri, and the thank you tier, Billy Laporta, Timothy Ulf. Oh, where's your son? How's he been? Garrett Bland, Stephen Fontana, Nathan McGurney, Antonio Guillen, Alex Van Aken himself, Luke Lohr, and Adam Kozniak. I hope I pronounced your name right, Adam. And so with that, thank you all so much for supporting the show, helping us grow, and get all the bonus Patreon stuff you get for doing that as well. But with all that said, and with all that out of the way, before we go as well, Kyle, what do you want to pimp out for us?
As always, I'd like to pimp out myself, WhoDatNinja73 on Twitter and on PSN. My show all about the best friends of the Kind of Funny community is called Best Friends Talk Funny. You can find that on Twitter at BFS Talk Funny or wherever you listen to podcast services. If you go to kindofnyc.com, you'll find all community meetup stuff in the New York area, as well as links to our community podcast, Dollar Slice, as well as our other gaming show, Platform Agnostic, where we just pick one game and we talk about it every other week. So yeah, go look for that stuff.
Jesus, that's a lot of stuff.
Man, I have more
I
stuff.
just got busy thinking about it.
Yeah.
Fonz, man, you've been such a great guest. Super freaking informative. Where can people find you, sir?
Yeah, you can find us on Plastic Heart Pod on YouTube. It's actually youtube.com/Plastic Hearts Podcast. We're also on Twitter. We're Plastic Heart Pod on Twitter. We have YouTube breakdowns of the news. We talk to indie devs. We have a separate PlayStation podcast we're running on there with my good buddy Callum Monrose from the UK, and that is called L2R2. And yeah, we're just trucking along.
Nice. Awesome. And again, you can find this show each and every Thursday on RSS feed services like Spotify. Rate us 5 stars on iTunes, Google Play, wherever you get your RSS feed. Please, please, please help support the show. Hit us with a download. Helps us out. We're also on youtube.com/badbitgames, where you get the video version of the show as well as my non-PlayStation content, where we talk about all things games, news, and reviews. And so with all that said, with all that out of the way, everybody keep hunting, keep playing PlayStation.